Carol here. A warm welcome back to my craft room for the envelope for Hunter's little teacher card. And he will be giving this to his teacher starting school tomorrow. So I wanted to do a two-part on this because this LDRS creative project, this actual card, has a giveaway. And the giveaway is this beautiful apple 14-piece die set. So you can leave me a comment on this tutorial as well as the tutorial if you want to see how I created the card itself. So here is, I wanted to explain this. The back page right here is the second piece. This is not the Yupo paper. The back page apple is where I used the other sheet that I explained in the first tutorial creating this card for LDRS Creative. So now we'll move ahead and I will take you on the journey of making the card for this. It's 5.5 by 7.5. So let's go. The actual card size is 5.5 by 7.5. So I took the card envelope maker and I made it at 5.5 by 8. So it gave me some wiggle room because I am going to add gussets. One line gussets around the whole envelope because the card is rather thick. So here we go. I'm starting out with my 140 pound, and for the envelope you don't need to have it that thick, by the way. 100 pound weight would be lovely. So I'm going to cut it at 10.5 by 10.5, and then I'm going to score it like the envelope maker suggests on there for that size card. I don't have it right in front of me. And here are the dies. The reason I'm wrapping them up is I'm going to wipe them down because I used the Yupo paper with the alcohol inks. And oh yes, hello, yes, I had to put him walking by, and why not right over top of the envelope, right? He's such a cutie. And I want to thank everybody. I'm just creasing it here. Let me just suggest this. If you're making an envelope, it's because I'm going to lie it down flat like this to create the front. And so I'm using the LDRS Creative masking paper. You can use any masking paper. I needed 2 of these. It didn't have to be really vivid on there, you know, stamped perfectly. I just need it cut out because I'm going to put 3 of these actual crayons on there. Now, the sets that I used, and please forgive me, I don't have everything up on my blog yet of all the supplies. Oh my, I have been running with time. It's not been my friend for the last month, I'm telling you. So when I got the video up yesterday, it was late last night actually, and so I will take my time tonight and get all the products down. So the products that I used a Fiskars stamp set, which I will try to find for you. This is the beautiful Altenew sewing set where I got the scissors and the few other elements. And then I used the saying, the curiosity saying is out of a Stamp Pendus kit. So I situated everything. Let's just move along. However you want to design your card, your envelope, excuse me. You put down everything, and I used the Tim Holtz platform. I love this. And I did have to use the Versamark, whatever you're using on there. LDRS has a beautiful Versamark, like clear stamp, as well as Nouveau. So whatever's closest to me at the time, that's what I'll use. They are all wonderful. So I'm really giving them a good press on there. Oh yes. And I hauled out some, I think this is a Recollections actually, silver embossing powder for the scissors, the clothespin, or not clothespins, the tack, the paper clips, and everything but the crayons. The crayons I did in a gold copper. Really nice, you know, it's like going in your stash to just find some fun products that you need to use up. So this was a wow. It's almost like a wow red, like a deep, deep red copper color. I really like it. So I kind of sped this up because my last tutorial was over an hour. I think I lose views, because I know people go on there and say, oh my, an hour, are you kidding me? I know that. I know it's like crazy. But, you know, sometimes you put a lot of techniques in there, and you don't want to just pass it along and not put them in your video. So I choose to put it in the video, and those that want to watch, it's fine. That if you have time, you know, can scroll to the end, whatever. I'm really content now with the time factor that I use. And here's that beautiful curiosity dictionary saying that I got out of a set from Stampendous. So it's I think it's a Tim Holtz. It has like, it has the quill pens on there, and it has this saying, and I haven't used the set before, so I will find it for you. And you can see that I took my LDRS Creative masking paper, I put it over top of the crayon already, and we're going to move right along. And the paper clip, I mean, that's a Fiskars paper clip, and the actual clipboard clip. I found them, yeah, I'm trying to zoom in so you can see that beautiful curiosity dictionary saying. I think it's perfect for somebody to, you know, a child to bring to their teacher, because at 4 years old, you are very curious about all things, right? So I masked it out, and I just used one of my acrylic blocks and applied 3 crayons. And I loved this card. And I'm going to tell you, it is really flexible, like really flexible with the creative elements that you can put in here. Even if, like, when I was doing this, I didn't put any powder on there to protect it from stray pieces, but that helped me when I saw that and I didn't get all the dots off. That's what gave me the idea to take my Copic markers and make little dots, you know, all the way around the envelope. So one mistake leads into a wonderful element. When you make those errors, it doesn't bother me at all. It just furthers my creativity to think up something to use. And there's the Altenew set. I will put that on my blog. Please accept my apology for not having all of the links up. I truly, truly have been super, super busy. And I want to get out some more tutorials, you know. It's and I appreciate those that have thought of me, praying for me, especially when I get this hot weather. You know, I'm prone to these crazy barometric migraines. So yeah, between that and busyness with our business, it has been, yeah, a real go-getter month. So it's Labor Day today. Happy Labor Day weekend to everybody. I think my American friends as well as my Canadian friends, we all celebrate the Labor Day weekend. I think we're all in tune with that. So I hope you had a beautiful long weekend. Here I set this apple. I found this apple in another set. Yeah, I love going back in my stash and finding all of these cute little elements to put on envelopes. That's where you'll gather all of your stash stuff to put on the front of envelopes. So here we go. I am quickly coloring it. I wanted to get this tutorial up, so I did speed it up a bit. If you, you know, obviously you've noticed it is sped up. But here I grabbed 3 gray colors for my scissors to make it look that silver color. And I went with the C family, and I also went with the a couple of N markers, grays. And I always use the V20 and the V06, even V12, the violet, to give it that shading when you're working with grays. I love it. And there it is. I think it's C4, C6, and maybe yeah, C2 I started with. Then I'm going to add the darker shades. When you're shading for silver, let me just add this. There's no rocket science to it. You can see that I'll put shading on the left and some on the right. I'm not really, you know, the only time I stick maybe with one, if I'm shading shadow, I will stick to maybe the right side or the left side, depending on, generally the right side. Yeah, so here I'm trying to make this look like a tag. So just grab 3. That's kind of a mustard color. I'm looking at my Copics here to see if I can think of the color. I think it was an YR24 I started with. And then I went to the YR, let me see, more of a yellow tone. I could have used, I think I started with the YO2 actually. And then I layered it up to make it look more like a tag. And the beauty of this, when you're using embossing powder, you don't have a lot of coloring. So I'm sorry, I just got an email. That happens all the time, doesn't it? Grabbed a few shades of red. For my reds, I really like the RB25 for that bright red, and I might add an R37 on top of it to get the deep shading. And then grab yourself a nice pink color. I like the V2O as a pink, or you can use the RB63. That's a nice pink as well. They're all nice. And then I grabbed my glossy accents and added a little bit. I left a sweet spot on there. Even though the stamp has a little sweet spot to the right, I always add another one kind of to the center left there. And the envelope, for me, you're using a lot of your grays. So that's great with Copic markers. You could use practically anything to color with. I chose the Copics because they were quick and easy. There's my V2O, I think it is. Could be a V04. No, I think actually it's the V17. Yes. It's a darker shade anyway, and you can see that it really does stand out, but when you put a darker gray over top, it really does add to that silver kind of scissor look. Yes, and you know, for Labor Day today, my husband and I got our Harleys out and we went out for a late breakfast. We took our motorcycles to Niagara Falls to a favorite restaurant we like for a nice breakfast. Then we came back and the weather was in the 90s, and now I'm looking out and it's raining. So that worked out well that we went for breakfast instead of thinking to go out for dinner. So we had a nice bike ride, and then my husband had to go out on a call for the business, and then I said I'm going to quickly go up and do this voiceover so I can get this out. Now this is oxide inks, of course. Creamy oxide inks. So I chose some primary colors for the flap, and then I put down a sheet of paper and just did direct ink to paper. And this also had some ink that got on my envelope, but this helped me as I'm kind of smushing the clear embossing powder in here. It helped me to do that, the dots on there. Another word for this is pointillism, when you're just putting dot. But I did, when I did the dots, I did some thicker than others. So it really did have a nice effect on the front of the envelope. And the only reason I thought of it is because I had some overflow of ink and also some embossing powder strays. So in my head, I just thought, okay, let's do some pointillism. Just do the dots. And I could have used my wonderful dot pen that I have, that electronic, beautiful pen. But the Copics were on hand, like I said, and I wanted to get this up and given to Hunter for tomorrow. So here we go. I'm heat setting it, and isn't this a beautiful color? And I will get the colors that I used up tonight on my blog. Yes, I'm generally right up with that. If you follow my channel, you know I try to get everything at the same time, but boy, I was rushing for time. Here's this gorgeous, kind of like a pumpkin orange. I just love it. And I love working with oxide inks when you're doing ink to paper, because they're so crazy moist, and it doesn't take much to run it across the paper. And when you heat set it with clear embossing powder, it's very vivid. You'll find that, and it just made that wow factor for the envelope for me. I was really excited to have the oxide ink colors. And yeah, I'm not near them to give you them, but I will get them out and add it to my blog for sure. And it is the perfect orange, isn't it? It's just goes along with the pink. And then I did like an apple red on the one side so that it, you know, the theme of the apple card kind of went along. And the glass mat was perfect for cleanup. Just swipe it across with your baby wipe. And now, oh, I did this beautiful mint green. These oxide inks, yeah, I'm really sold on them. I just really think they're a great investment. And I was really pleased to be able to, you know, have them to use in this tutorial for you. So moving right along, I did all 4 flaps, cleaned up, put the embossing powder on it, and the whole time while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, yikes, I got to think of another technique to do so that it doesn't, you know, you can see that even right there at the bottom, you can see a little bit of the ink got over the fold. But yeah, the first thing that came to my mind was pointillism and the dots. So that will take away and mask the bottom flap so it looks like it's intentional. And I don't think Hunter's teacher is going to see that. So here we go with the oxide red. This is a beautiful apple red. It reminds me of candy apples, doesn't it? It's beautiful. So I just take it direct ink to paper, and we're going to put the clear embossing powder on it and move right along. I think it's using primary colors. I don't know, you know, first day of school for a 4-year-old, I thought it was really a cute idea. And I hope his teacher will, you know, get it when she looks at it. I don't know, you know, 4-year-olds, I think it's just a nice addition to bring in to the teacher. And yeah, I was a school teacher early on. I homeschooled all of our sons, and so I get it. And here I also made a metal bookmark with a metal leaf and a beautiful pair of scissors that I had, and some hanging boggles and stuff to give to her as well, with a red diamondy apple hanging off of it. I will put that in a future tutorial for you to see as a little gift. So here we go. I'm going to do, I thought of an eraser on the bottom of these crayons for some crazy reason. I did one in orange, one in the red, and one in the pink. I kind of did a pink red and one in green, and stuck to the eraser bottom. And I think it was just easy, practical, and it gave it a stunning look, having that dictionary saying curiosity in the center. I really did like it. And here we go. So I started out with the matching Copic orange, and I just started making dots. I made thicker ones around the fold, the flap, and then I went smaller as I went along. And you're not going to have to endure all of the dots. I took it out of the edit. And yeah, so I just went and grabbed my Copic. You can see how I went along the objects smaller, and then towards the flap they were larger dots. So it worked out really well. And then as I have the same color, I will color in the crayons. And masking things, I think, is beautiful, isn't it? Like when you do a mask and it looks like you just threw a few crayons down. I really like that look. And you could do it with anything here, with your paper clips. I thought they looked so realistic, didn't they? And then I did the shading, like the shadowing. I did it after I did the pointillism dots here. And I just, you know, random. Everything was random. I didn't want it to have a pattern. I just, yeah. And here you can see I'm switching the pink up to the red, just going here and there. And it really did hide, for me, the fold. And plus I'm going to put my, I'm going to grab my Martha Stewart scoreboard, and I'm going to put some lines in there so that Yeah, because the card is thicker and I'm going to need to add a little bit more bulk to the envelope so it'll fit inside. And that's what I do next. And then we're going to go to the green, I think. I think this is a nice addition to a card. It's different, you know, and it's fun, and it's childlike to me, the front of this envelope. Once I get this finished, I'm going to add 3 different shades of my C markers, the grays to the paper clip and to the actual clipboard clip at the top. And I wanted to make it look a little more realistic, so I took my Crop-A-Dile, the large one, and I made a hole in the paper clip and I made a hole in the tag so that I could put some real ribbon in there. I was really excited about that. It just brought this envelope to a whole new level for me. And I want to just stress while I'm thinking of it here to make sure you leave a comment, because I'll put you in for the win tomorrow, actually, for the die set, for the LDRS Creative Apple 14-piece die set. It's a build-a-set. So it generally builds off other sets that Angie Hunt puts out for LDRS, and you do have to check over on their LDRS Creative dies and stamps. The sales are fantastic. I mean, unbelievably fantastic. So here we go. I'm just going to take 3 different shades and just do some fun crayon colors here. I'm going to add my Versamark with my pick sticks, you know, my little pick sticks. Why am I thinking of that word? With my micro brushes. There it comes. Yes, my brain is not thinking here. Whenever you're in a hurry to get something up, your mind has got to be, especially if you speed it up, it has to be like thinking. You have to have a thinking mind. How's that? And thank you to everybody that put their names in. I know I haven't answered everybody yet, but I will get to that later. Oh, here I took my white pen, and this is good to have around. This is my, I'll leave that too. Let me just grab it here. That is my Signo Broad white pen. Yes, that was, I could reach that. Isn't it funny how your mind, you just lose what you're thinking of instantly? So here I am going, this might even be in the N family. Whatever grays you have, just swipe it across. It's just to look like metal. That's all I'm doing here, is going 3 tones, light, medium, and dark. And yeah, it already has the little squiggle marks. So this was really an easy envelope to make for this card. But I did have to make some, I did have to put it on my Martha Stewart board to make gussets all the way around. Just a 1 line when you're scoring. Go over 1 line, and that will give you the space to put your card in. And there's my micro brush. I just squirt on the side of my glass mat. Is it squirted? I squirt a little bit of Versamark over there. There it is. Yes. And I just went to town, adding it to the look of metal. You know, that shiny look. And just went around there nice and thin. You don't have to get crazy. And yeah. And then on the inside, I'm going to add some red paper, Stampin' Up! Apple red paper to the inside part after I take my Crop-A-Dile and add the hole to the paper clip and to my little tag there on the left side with the apple. Doesn't it all come together? And it's the stuff you have in your stash. And it's the first time I used this Altenew sewing set. I really like it. It has so many versatile stamps in that set. You know, I think this was 4 different stepping stamps. I don't know what I'm saying. Oh yeah. What I wanted to say was my stamps. Yeah, I'm leaving it real, folks. This is the way I think when I'm working fast and trying to get this up before I have to run an errand here. So I went to my brads, and you know those little screws that you have that look realistic? One has the one line and one has the cross. I grabbed the one that had the X on it, and I cut the brad off, grabbed my hot glue gun and got that plugged in. And here's some stashed dark green ribbon, and I'm cutting it up and I'm going to put that on. So I'm just going to slide this in that little tag hole, and I'm going to use Scotch tape on the back because I am going to cover it with red cardstock on the back portion there. So that way the red shines through on the paper clip. There you have it there. I'll cut it off so it lays flat. And nobody's going to be the wiser when that is sticking out. I think it just adds a little something something to the card. There is nothing super special as far as the Copic coloring skills or, you know, any advanced kind of methods here to my madness. All it is a whole lot of fun, and it's creative time that we set aside to relax, you know. I added some darker green to this to match the ribbon. I like the way that the flaps shine through. You can use any colors, and I love to use the white, the Uniball Signal Broad pen, because it does add a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of dimension. I'm putting the hot glue here on the screw, and I think this adds a little bit too. I just like everything about it. I like the dotalism, and that only came about because I had some stray dots. I'm going to match up some of my Prisma pencils to the background of the dots, so it just had a little bit of shading. I don't know, I just thought it would be nice. So I took a green, a pink, and a red, and go crazy right here. And then we are going to call it a card once I get out my Martha Stewart scoreboard to put my creases on there, because it is a thicker card, because it's a shaker card, right? So you need to have a little bit of a gusset on all the folds. And then I'm going to add some shading. Now I stuck to the right hand side with 2 shades of gray. So you can see wherever I think it lands on a table, that's where I do around the edges. So I went with the right side. I tried to stay to the right. Underneath, if it's a flat object, and you know, as you're going, I don't have any rules or strict methods to my madness at all. If you watch my tutorials, you know that. I just go with the flow, whatever seems to look good. You don't want to add any extra stress to crafting, right? You want to sit down and enjoy yourself and come up with some, you know, little ideas here and there. Here I'm going back in, and I think I also put a little bit of the, I think it is the VO4 that I put in there. Just a light mauve underneath to add to the gray. It always adds a little bit of depth for me. I don't know. I don't have any Copic certificates. I just have, you know, learning as you go certificate. That's what I have. And I think that's good both ways, you know. Experiential learning, it's always good to watch different tutorials. There's so many wonderful creators out there. I don't even have time to watch other tutorials, truly. I have a few that I subscribe to that I watch, but generally I am so crazy busy. And then if you do tutorials and you do a voiceover edit, you know, it takes a little bit of time. There comes another email, but I'm going with it. Now we're having thunderstorms. If you hear that, it's, oh, I love this weather for crafting. I have an LDRS Creative stash. I want to show you that another beautiful autumn set has come in, so I'll get that up for September. Here's the card for Hunter. It says for my on the front and then teacher, and that's going inside. Once you add the gussets to the flap, it really does add to that boxed look. And I'm so excited as I'm reading the Curiosity Dictionary stamp. That's beautiful. And then we're going to move ahead. I need to put the 2 little worms on there so that the flap can stick inside. I use the glue gun to glue down the edges because that way it's not going to move on me. There's my little worms right there. And when I lowered them up, the flap slides right in and it's perfect. There you have it. I'm just going to put it down with hot glue, and I'm going to add the eyeballs to it because you're going to need that. And it doesn't matter that I glue it right to the flap instead of, you know, before I put Scotch tape behind it. But here I put double-sided tape. But once I took it off, I removed it because I thought this is not going to hold a thick card. And you know I always put my cards in because that will determine where I need to press down on the envelope. If you don't do this, you end up, you know, your gussets don't really come into play because you end up flattening it out. And you need to put your card inside the envelope, and that will help lift it up. And you can see that when I let go. Yeah, I just had a little bit of glue behind the eyeballs. I just took it off because of the nice shiny emboss on there. Slide it under, and easy peasy, a nice little envelope. Now, I had to add the gold, right? You know, I always add a little bit of gold to each one of my projects, so I got out some of my gold stickers and I added it to the inside flap. It always looks so pretty to remember when you open up a flap of an envelope. They see that as well. You know, I cover all my cards if I can, so why not cover all the envelope pages, right? I put some glossy accents down. This will hold the first sticker layer so that it doesn't come up. And I put it around the eyeballs so they don't come off when, you know, the teacher puts it away. Then right on top of the glossy accents, I put the next layer of the lined sticker. Yeah, and I think it just looks so cute. Holds everything down underneath. And there you have it. You have the envelope that goes with my LDRS Creative Design Team project card. And I just ran it over quickly to Hunter because they don't live too far from me, and dropped it off. So tomorrow morning he will have this little card and envelope to bring to his first day of school with his little bookmark with the scissors and the apple dangling off. I think it's great to show appreciation. So there you have it, my friends, just a slow view of the card. Don't forget to put your comment down so that you have an opportunity tomorrow when I pick somebody for the apple die set like this. I put Created Especially for You by Carol Held on the back apple. And I am thrilled to death, like always, to put a tutorial up for you. Thank you very much for your support and your encouragement when you leave me a comment. You have yourself a blessed week coming up, and I hope you enjoy the pictures. Okay, until the next tutorial, take care, everybody.